Are you suffering from tight, creaky joints that are breaking your pistons? Well, on this Fixzilla, we're going to get you all lubed up and leave you a happy Mechagodzilla pilot.
Alright, my zillions, welcome back to another Fixzilla. And as I stated, we're gonna get some lubing going on because we got some problems with this Godzilla vs. Kong Mechagodzilla from Godzilla vs. Kong 2021 from SH Monster Arts. Now, we talked about this in my unboxing, and I wanted to tackle this subject ahead of the actual review here because, to be honest, I didn't want to break this figure in the review. So I wanted to make sure I went into that as safely as possible, got all the information I possibly could, because I really was unsure in that unboxing, exactly what was breaking, where was, what was happening, because it really didn't matter to me to, really look it up beforehand, because I was getting it no matter what. But in the unboxing, I had said, possibly these pistons were breaking because to me, that's what, initially it looked like. Now, what's actually happening is that folks are experiencing breakages within the Krajiji there, and right in here where that joint meets the body. So what's happening here is all of this assembly all has to move together. When this moves, these pistons go up and down, and, these pistons, in theory, should rotate. However, what's happening with this figure, what's going on with this figure is this figure has got tight joints everywhere. Shoulders, elbows, aforementioned area right here, not only on the inside, but mostly, my theory, mostly it's because of the tight hip joints. Knee joints are also tight. Now, there is die cast in this figure, and I'm assuming that some of the die cast is hard to tell because it does feel cold in spots, but definitely in the front of the knee, and this is die cast. But I really think there's a little bit of die cast going on in the joints, because the first thing I did was heat the stuff up, and it didn't really work for me. Everything was super tight still. So, I talked to some folks that I know who had some breaks, and I want to definitely shout out Daryl Banks in particular, because at the end of our conversation when he was showing me his breaks, he told me that he used some shock oil on all of the joints to loosen it up a little bit. So now I don't have any shock oil, but I talked to my wife about it, and she did some research, because she does research sometimes and I don't. And what we do have is this giant, I have no idea why she has this, giant Ultra Pro white mineral oil. This is mineral oil that's FDA approved, that is used on all kinds of equipment, trolleys, tracks, and other areas to inhibit rust. This is, used in food processing plants. Why my wife has this, I have no clue. I really don't. However, we figured out that this can be used. Now, I am not advocating using this because I don't quite know what long-term effects it might have. However, a more simple, baby type mineral oil will probably work fine. It's not gonna destroy it because there's not really paint on this per se, and nothing has happened yet, and it's been hours. However, what has happened is I've freed up my joints. You see the shoulders move nicely. You see the elbows move pretty decently. I could put a little bit more in there, and I might. The knees, this knee is still a little tight, I can tell you right now, but it's a lot better than it was. See that? That has pistons too, do be careful. So this one actually freed up nicely. This leg moves decent. Now I am still moving these legs pretty gingerly. And now this leg, where a lot of people are having a problem, is moving a lot better. So here's what I did. Took some mineral oil in this little syringe, and that's how I placed it in. So you can control it a little bit at a time, here and there, and freed up the joints. Now this joint is covered, which is problematic. So there's this floating piece here that covers this joint on the inside. You gotta get in there though. So what I did was kind of go, around here from like every angle that I could, because that was the tightest spots. Now, I used, oil, not only because of what Daryl said, but it made a lot of sense to me because, yeah, there's some die cast going on here, and that is accounting to more tighter joints. So I think it's a great idea, and the use of like that type of oil really, really worked for me. So that's what's going on here. That's what I used, and it makes a lot of sense that people are breaking this if it's tight. Now, some folks are reporting it's broken right out of the box. Now, I don't know if that means it was broken in the box, or when some folks say right out of the box, they mean that, they took it out of the box, like moved it once and it broke. I can't talk about anything that was broken in the box. Maybe it was placed in there weird and the leg shifted, something, I don't know, or the person that put it in, if a person did put it in individually, they shifted it weird to put it in there and it broke and they just, let it go. But I could see someone not knowing, and you know what? A lot of this stuff I feel like is going to happen earlier than later because more folks are going to be talking about this stuff. If this joint is super, super tight, which it was, and you move it, those joints, because of the way it moves, is going to snap. Because you make one like sharp, hard motion trying to unfree the joint, and you're gonna snap those. Those are just done, just done in plastic. So yeah, that is what's happening more than anything. There's no doubt about it. Stuck joints are breaking these. You can see that there's a metal pin in there holding it in place. However, the joints there are plastic. So, these joints in here are plastic. I did also put some oil in there too, by the way. So I made sure those are able to move freely too. But as you can see, it's one of those things where everything has to align perfectly to move. So even when you do get this, even with this information, please be careful on this. This is a really nice piece, not cheap. And you don't want to ham fist this. Really gently move it around. Work it. Get your oil in there, whatever you use. Shock oil is probably better because it's silicone based. But if you don't have it, again, some sort of mineral oil seems to be working fine. For me, it really worked great. Again, I am not recommending it. I'm merely giving you an option of, because this is what I used. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm just putting the info out there for you guys and hopefully helping you out a little bit with your brakes. Even if that information is just be careful with this when you initially take it out of the box and move it for the first time. I've done that before. I've taken, say, Zangief from Storm Collectibles out of the box. I moved a leg once and it snapped on me. Actually, it wasn't Zangief. Who was it? It was Ryu. One of those. So I've been there before. That's happens sometimes. I don't always consider it a QC issue. Some joints just tighten up in transit even. If there is indeed some die cast in these joints, they're gonna get super cold in transit sometimes. Heat will change them, even if it's plastic, you know, guys. Sometimes heat will change it, and you know that's an issue. But there's also, you know, it's an engineering issue the way they did this. To me, more than a QC issue, because the way they engineered it, you know, it's prone to breakage. That's not QC, that's just like a straight up, they engineered that without keeping, you know, thinking about that relationship here and how people are going to handle this. So in my opinion, both these joints and that joint, well, the actual pistons and that joint should have all been die-cast metal. They use die-cast metal here in plenty of places. It would only cost a few more cents to put them there, and those to me are the most important places to put them in. And there you go. This is not a review. This is a Fixzilla. I didn't actually fix anything here because I already did this all, and I didn't want to do it on camera because it's a fragile piece. But I did want to show you the things I used and where I used it, and as you can see, my Mechagodzilla is working fine. And I wanted to do this video before the review and get it out there as soon as possible because I want your Mechagodzilla to be fine. So I hope you dug it. Let me know your thoughts below. You know, if you have any other things to add to this, help out the community, help me out too. You know, let's share all that information, and there you have it. Till next time, peace out, peeps.